Good evening, viewers, and welcome to a Friday night of IndySim Esports Network broadcast action here for round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. And tonight sees us come to Auto Club Speedway for the California 250, which will see the drivers do 125 laps around this racetrack. They have a 75% fuel drop, 2 sets. So I actually think it might be 3 sets of tyres or 2 sets, not quite sure. Fast repair is 1, and if needed, we will go to a green-white checker. The track is 2 miles or 3.2 kilometres in length, and the virtual start time of 6:15 p.m. As always, joining me in the commentary box tonight is none other than Paul Jackson. Welcome to you tonight, Paul.
How you going, Aidan? Good to be back again for another week of broadcasting and Friday night, and the weekend's here upon us. I'm sure there's a few people happy with the Victoria and New South regional lockdowns lifting and restrictions starting to ease a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. There was a lot that played out I saw on the news and through the media today. So interesting to see how that plays out over the coming weeks and months. But we're now 2 years into COVID nearly, so it's definitely here to stay, as we know. But Paul, quickly back to the racing. What a great 5 rounds of the championship so far, with some really great finishes and close finishes as well. We have a leader at the front of the championship at the moment by a little bit, but all the minor spots at the moment are up for grabs. So Daniel Beckinsale currently has an 11-point advantage there over Jason Holdsworth in second spot. Norman Clark a further 11 points behind in third. Dave Oliver in fourth, just 2 points behind Norman. And Andy Barber, after a really strong start to the season, has just dropped to the edge of that top 5 on 144 points. But Paul, like I said, tonight we're at Auto Club Speedway, round 625 laps. By the looks of it there, what I see, mate, we currently have 31 entries for round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. So excited to see if we have any late joiners, or we're going to get 31 people into this race. It's always had a lot of following since this Next Gen Series started. So, Paul, Auto Club Speedway, 2 mile in length, can look a little bit easy, but it can be tricky as well at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. This track, you can't be a slouch here. It's not like other super speedways like Talladega or Daytona, even though it's quite large in track size and quite a wide track as well. So there is a couple of different lines you can take around here, being the high side or the low side, and we'll see which one works the best tonight.
Yeah, we will, and it depends how they've set up the server. It is going to be a sunset race here, Paul, and we know from first-hand experience, I actually struggle around this racetrack most times. 3 and 4, I tend to get very, very tight. So it'll be interesting in those first 20 laps to see the different lines these guys take to try and manage the tyre wear, or whether somebody wants to get to the front early and go. So, well, we have 3 minutes left in their practice session. We will quickly go through the timesheets. So currently up the top of the timesheets in practice is Norman Clark with a 40.97. Greg Spencer is in second spot with a 41.06. Andy Barber's there with third with a 41.07. Not to be outdone by Jamie Nankervis with the exact same time there with a 41.07 in fourth. Jason Holdsworth in fifth. Brian Bullock in sixth with a 41.09. So nice close times up the front here with 2.5 minutes to go in practice, Paul.
Definitely, and while we're just counting down the couple of minutes remaining in practice, we might have to just bring up a special event that'll be coming up in the 19th of September. So if you want to run us through that one, Aidan.
Yeah, I'd love to, mate. I am super excited about this event and be able to bring it to everyone on the IndySim Esports Network. So we are going to be broadcasting the RedKite race for Jake in memory of Jake McKenzie. Now, this is a fundraising event for RedKite. You can see the link there in the bottom. We will also put that link at some stage in the comments on Facebook. If you need it sent to you, if you're watching, let us know. You can go on and donate. You don't have to race. I believe they've already raised nearly $1,000, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's at Daytona Speedway on Sunday, the 19th of September, 2021. Nearly $3,000, I've been told. So that's really great going so far. It will be 80 laps at Daytona International Speedway. So jump on and do that. There'll be some special things done on that broadcast outside of the usual broadcast for Darren and his family. So for those of you who don't know, unfortunately, one of our fellow iRacing friends, Darren McKenzie, did unfortunately lose his 12-year-old son recently to leukemia. So we're all jumping behind him and trying to raise as much money as we can and create as much awareness as we can for the terrible people that not only children but adults that go through that demoralizing or debilitating disease. So looking forward to bringing that one for you here on the InterSim Esports Network on Sunday the 19th of September. We will have another Australasian Supercar E-Series race that we will be broadcasting on Sunday night before that one as well. And of course, we'll be back here next Friday night for round 7 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. So Paul, really looking forward to that event and to be able to see all these different liveries I believe people are going to be doing for the event. I've seen through socials, so really looking forward to that, and especially some of the special ideas we have on the broadcast to bring to all the viewers.
Yeah, definitely. I've spotted a couple of those liveries, and the cars are looking real good for the race event coming up. So will be great to see what everyone else is. What everyone else comes up with, and if there's any hidden ones there lurking in the background that haven't actually been publicised yet.
Yeah, and they do that just to make it hard for us up in the commentary booth, mate. We're used to calling certain liveries and then they change it on us. So lucky we have our live timing in front of us, we can see. But really good initiative by, actually, it was Michael Shaw from Full Throttle Racing himself that started this initiative, and he's pushed through. So a big shout out to him. And obviously a lot of guys behind the scenes that we haven't mentioned is a part of that as well. So we've now moved into qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just turn our attention straight back to Auto Club Speedway in the virtual world and see how these guys do come out in qualifying. Obviously quickly, as we see the 66 there come out on track to set his first qualifying lap. But also a big shout out to the Cube Retro Radio, which is a sponsor of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. So a big thank you to the Cube Radio for jumping on board and being a part of this series. So Paul, we'll do it now while they're in qualifying. Everyone that watches us on the InterSim Esports Network is well aware we do have a little wager on who we think's going to go well in this race. And normally we do put the commentator's curse on. So hopefully we don't do that tonight. But we're waiting for the times to come in. Who do you think is going to be there at the end of this one?
Well, I'm going to go with the fellow Kiwiman, Storm and Norman. So we'll have to pick Norman Clark for the win tonight, I think.
Not a bad choice after the pace he showed through practice, Paul. So Norman for the win. Well, I'm going to go something completely different tonight. I am going to go our USA driver of Derek Jacobs in the 99 car. I think he's due for another solid one. He did have a solid drive in round 1, so I think he's due for another one, Paul.
Yeah, not a bad pick there. Spreading the love with their US drivers, and I believe we've got a new driver as well to the series, Brady Tinnan. So we'll welcome Brady to the league as well as the Friday night racing at Full Throttle.
Yeah, there seems to be a couple of new faces or names, more to the point, in there tonight. So good to see new drivers come here to the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. But Paul, the laps are starting to fall down fast, and Daniel Smith's put it on pole currently with a 41.38. Greg Spencer backing up his solid practice time there with a 41.45. They do have 2 laps. They will be set in a second. But Greg has just been pipped by Brady Tinnan at the moment with a 41.39. So these times will fluctuate a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, over the next couple of minutes. Everyone looks like they're out on track that is going to set a lap. So there's a few there at the moment that may not set a lap as they're still showing in pits, but we still currently have 2 minutes to go, enough time to get those couple of laps in. So let's just go back to the top. Daniel Smith just went quicker again on his second lap with a 41.37. Tim Weston's now jumped up, not to be outdone, as I said earlier in the practice session, with a 41.37 as well. So currently it's a Daniel Smith and Tim Weston front row. Ruben Phelps from New Zealand, Dunedin, New Zealand, up there has just put the 06 Toyota up into P3. Darren McKenzie, who we just mentioned about the RedKite race for Jake, having a nice solid qualifying in P4. And if you have a look at that currently, Paul, the top 6 guys, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, each separated by 0.02 of a second, and identical times until Tim just did another lap. Identical times there for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, respectively.
Yeah, definitely bring up that gap there so we can have a look at that on screen there. But there's not a lot between everyone here, so it's going to be foot to the floor and go, baby, go. So we'll see some quite close racing tonight, I think, and possibly 2 or 3 wide running as well.
Yeah, I think you're correct there. I think you've hit the nail on the head as always. We are in the next gen car, which drives a lot differently. Obviously, iRacing did have an update after the next patch was dropped a couple of days ago. So whether the cars are driving differently, I haven't been in one yet since the update. So it might be different, but these next gen cars definitely drive differently to the current Cup cars. So we might see a little bit more 3-wide action, and yeah, those tyres might last a little bit longer, but time will tell, Paul. We're now gone into the last 30 seconds of qualifying. So Jamie Nankervis has just jumped to the top there with a 41.34. Good lap there by Jamie Nankervis. Brad Allison, good to see him back in the 03 car tonight, has jumped up rather to P3 with a 41.37. So Brad, good to see you back out here tonight. Hopefully you can make yourself through the race and have a nice solid result. That's pushed Ruben down to 5th. Let's have a quick look. Norman Clark, your pick will be starting out of P14, and look who's out of P15. Derek Jacobs, my pick. So there you go, Paul. We couldn't have written it, but we'll quickly go to your starting grid for round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series, brought to you by the Cube Retro Radio here on the Insim Sports Networks. Off the pole will be Jamie Nankervis. On the outside of him, Daniel Smith. Inside of the second row will be Brad Allison. On the outside of hhim, Tim Weston. Ruben Phelps on the inside of the 5th row with Darren McKenzie out of P6. Brady Tinnan in P7 with Ray Zerkart in P8 on the outside of him. Greg Spencer will lead the next row of the grid with Daniel Beckinsale rounding out your top 10. Tom Pritchard will start out of P11 and Adam Malone out of P12. Paul?
And Colby Coam on P13 with Norman Clark on P14. Derek Jacobs and Dimitri Agathos in P16. Jake Skilton and Brett Campbell P18. Tristan Koch P19 and Damon May rounding out our top 20. Sam Katakouzanos in P21 with Brian Bullock alongside in P22. Andy Barber in P23 and Peter Pollard in P24.
And that'll take us to the 25th starting position of Dave Oliver with Steve Hoppett, the person who runs this league, will start outside him in P26. Brad Fenley, which I believe is another new name to the series, will start out of P27 with Michael Shaw, we mentioned earlier, out of P28. 29th, we'll see Jason Holdsworth, who is currently second in the championship. So that's it looks like he's just put in a lap, but hasn't really tried with a 12.181 second lap. So he'll be starting out of P29, looking to move his way forward on the grid. Dave Misson will start out of P30, and Dylan Gray will make up the 31 car field here for the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series from Auto Club Speedway.
Have a look at that sunset as it's going down, the purple-orangey sort of colour there along pit wall. How good does that look?
Yeah, stunning pictures here from Auto Club Speedway. It looks amazing. Don't know whether that sun's going to get into the driver's eyes at all because we haven't had a look. But
I think someone just turned the switch off on the sun. It's disappeared on us.
Yeah, just as I started talking about it, it's disappeared. So hopefully the sun comes back. But for when we could see it then, Paul, it was a very, very nice sunset.
Yeah, and not too sure what's happening with Mr. Brad Ellison at the moment. He's decided to pull over, possibly get a end of line start, maybe. Yeah, we'll see what happens there with Brad.
Yeah, he's first time back in a little while after being off for some personal reasons. So probably just a safe bet here. He chucked in his qualifying lap and he's gone, okay, that's how quick I can go. I'll just start at the back. So that's now going to relegate Ruben Phelps from 5th up into the 3rd starting position, as you can see in the 06 Aussie Esports Toyota Camry. Jamie Nankervis there in the Monster Energy 18 car will start out of P1. Daniel Smith on the outside of P2. So let's see if they can get round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series underway nice and clean, and these 31 cars can get a couple of laps under the green flag for round 6. So Paul, we're about to exit turn 4 at Auto Club Speedway. Jamie Nankervis will bring us to the green. So pace car is off. Jamie sets the pace of the field. We will go on the green flag, wait for the green flag to drop, and we're green for round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series here from Auto Club Speedway. Jamie Nankervis with a good jump on the inside. Ruben Phelps pushing him all the way on the inside as well, trying to get that overlap on the 10 of Daniel. He's got 10 on his car just to throw me out, so his timing is actually the 3:13, so that's really going to throw us out tonight. Lucky he's got a pink car, but it looks like Ruben Phelps has made that move up the inside out of 2 to take second, on the inside out of turn 2 to take second place, right in behind Jamie Nankervis. Daniel Smith has just dropped into 3rd. Tim Weston looking racy there in 4th. Darren McKenzie is up a position into 5th, with Brady Tinnen into 6th currently. Jamie, as you can see there, Paul, has instantly started taking that high line early. So that might be a little bit of a look into the mindset of Jamie as he leads lap 1 of the next round of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series.
Quite possibly. I know I like to run around the high side at this track, which I found to be quite fast, but in the early stages the low line can be quite quickly as well on a fresh set of tyres, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what lines everyone decides to run tonight.
Yeah, it will, and with the 75% fuel drop, and generally in these leagues, you do see, even though they've got the tyre sets, they generally need to double stint, whether it be very short stint, a set of tyres. So looking after these tyres will be very important. You can see Ruben Phelps there in 3rd. He's followed everyone to the high line. There's a big battle pack there from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th down. We're 4 wide through turn 2. Hopefully they can come out the other side. Looks like that's Tom Pritchard, is it? There in the 6th car, and he's we're nearly 5 wide down the back straight. And there's our caution. There it is. There's the big one. They did well through 1 and 2, Paul, there, but you were just waiting for that one to happen.
Oh yes, I was. I knew when it would get crazy running 4 or 5 wide that it would come, and that's why I was going back there, because I was ready for it to happen.
I was hoping they'd get through that one, but there's a couple of guys there that won't be happy with that start, only 4 laps into 125. We might quickly go back, Paul, if we do have a second while we're under caution, just see how that all played out for the viewers. Okay, so call that one as you may, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like the 29 and the 25 car there got together on... They weren't really fighting over that outside line, Paul, and then the 69, the innocent victim there, Damon May, won't be happy with that. So looked like the 29 might have just drifted up a bit, but he would have had his eyes in his rear vision mirror. And oh no, that's not the 015 of Brett Campbell, is it? Having another interesting start to the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series.
I think Brett might have been lucky on that one. No, maybe not. He's just clipped the wall there. I spoke too soon. But I don't think Brett would have got a lot of damage out of that one.
Oh, he's definitely not as much as some of the others involved, but that 015 car looking spectacular. And that's actually the new livery that he's released, which I believe he's going to be running for the race for Jake. So he started running this a little bit earlier, and the right-hand side of that car's going to need a little bit of a wash and shine at the moment. Doesn't look too bad as he pulls into his pit stall. The drivers, I believe, a lot of drivers coming in here. So this is their top up for that double stint. So they're topping up the fuel tanks to try and eliminate how long they need to stay on those tyres, I believe, if they even do it all, if we get another caution. So all depends on their fuel run. But as they come out of pit lane at the moment, it's Daniel Smith will be leading the way back to the green when they all come out. Jamie Nankervis out of P2, Tim Weston P3, Raykurst Zerkott fourth out of pit lane, Tom Pritchard fifth. Interesting though, Darren McKenzie's gone back to 13th after that pit stop, and also Ruben Phelps has gone back to 12th. Brady Tinnen down 9 spots. So some different pit strategies there, as we're only 4 or 5 laps into round 6. So different strategies already playing out early on in this one.
Definitely, it'll be a mix-up of strategy and racing lines and pit stop strategy. So we'll have to see who works out the best over the course of the race tonight.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's one of our 2 drivers that we've picked, but I believe, if I have a look at that, I believe looking at the results, no, we're good actually. Our drivers are still in it, so good to go. But Norman Clark up 7 spots, Paul, in 7th position. So your pick currently moving forward. It looks like him and Derek Jacobs at the moment are tied by the hip, because Derek is just 1 spot in front of him, as you can see there in the 99 car, in 6th position. So those guys are tied at the hip at the moment, but like I said, Daniel Smith will bring us to green next time around, and Jamie Nankervis will be on the outside of that front row. Some other big movers that we've had currently, Dave Misson is up 20 spots after starting out of P30, so he's now worked his way inside the top 10. So if we have a look, the top 11 drivers have not made their way down pit lane. So we're about to go green for the 2nd time tonight here on the Indersim Esports Network for the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. They'll come around 3 and 4 here. The pace lights, the lights are off the pace car, sorry. Daniel Smith bringing us to the pole. Jamie Nankervis P2. It's a role reversal on the race start for this first restart rather of the race. So coming through 3 and 4. A lot of cars on that inside line at the back there, Paul. They might be ones that are involved in that accident. So Daniel Smith will bring us to the green. It is on leader this time, not green. Daniel Smith goes early. Looks like Tim Weston's got a great jump up the inside of the 18 of Jamie Nankervis there to take the 2nd place away heading into turn 1. Jamie Nankervis has Ray Zerkott right up behind him. Looks like we're going too wide. Another passing manoeuvre for the 4th position. Tom Pritchard pushing hard through 1 and 2 there up the inside of Ray Zerkott to take the 4th position away from him. So now Tom Pritchard moves into P4, 7 spots up on his starting position. Who's that in the blue car at the back there? That looks like that would be Norman Clark, your pick. So he's just sitting off the back of that group as they make their way back up the speed through 3 and 4. Derek Jones looking very racy off this restart, making some moves up the inside. He's just taken 2 positions there out of 3 and 4, but that high line will work together. But you'll see Derek be able to, and looks like he's given you a nice little profile pic for you too there, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. You see Derek Jacobs. So hopefully he's got the helmet on tonight and not the beanie, mate. But he's looking a little bit racy early on in this 2nd stint, as we would say, after we went caution early.
Definitely looks like a little cheeky grin on his face there as he's trying to come around the outside here on Brian Bullock. But looking like that outside line is seeming to be holding a bit of pace. But Derek getting a pretty good run there, just getting a little bit loose on the inside line there.
Yeah, and that could be, that's actually really interesting. We just saw that. Don't know if that was driver, but we're 9 laps, about to go 10 laps next time around. Darren McKenzie's making a move up, and he's been through pit lane. Not sure whether they took tyres this early. I'm not sure. But Derek Jacobs is slowly losing contact with that front group at the moment. So Darren McKenzie is now looking racy in that 0-2, and he is the first car that has been through pit lane in the race order at the moment. So we'll just have a little bit of a look back through the field as the race does start to settle down and actually get underway here at Auto Club Speedway. Let's have a look at some of the gainers and losers, or winners and losers, after that accident. We can't really bring Brad Allison into this one. He's 19 spots down. He's been through pit lane twice, but he hasn't been involved in an incident after electing to start rear of field. Greg Spencer with a really unfortunate start to the race. He is down 15 spots into P24. Brett Campbell, as we mentioned earlier, down 8 spots into P26. So big movers. I've spoken about Dave Misson, 20 spots up. Brian Bullock, 15 spots, now just 16. He makes a move, and looks like we've got some more 3-wide action, and looks like Derek Jacobs, Darren McKenzie, Ray Zerkott and the likes are wanting to race really hard for the back end of this top 3, 4, 5. So we were 3 wide again there, and it looked like they were wanting to go 4. So they've now just settled down a little bit. Derek's changed his line a little bit now that Darren's got past him, and he's moved that car higher on the racetrack. He tried to make that move, and it worked for a couple of laps, but then he lost touch. So he's moved up onto that high line and trying to work with Darren to catch up on the back of this front group, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. You can start to lose a bit of toe and draft here if you're not careful when you're running by yourself. So if you've got someone to work with, it'll definitely help to stay there and even catch the back onto the pack here as they've now done. So Darren coming up on the back of Jamie, and Derek and Darren looking to try and go around him, but Darren got the inside line there.
Yeah, we saw there, just for that lap, we're on board with Darren McKenzie and Derek Jacobs. They actually pulled 0.2 of a second on that lead group. So that really goes to show what you just mentioned there, how good that draft can work when you do line up on that outside line around Auto Club Speedway. So they have caught up on the back. They're a little bit line astern at the moment. Jamie Nankervis just sitting there patiently in P4. I'm sure he will let Darren and Derek go if they get a good run here, I believe. Jamie will play the long game. Tom Pritchard, really, really racy early here again too. He's up 9 spots. He's trying to clear Tim Weston there for P2, which he has on the timing, but not on the racetrack. So we'll see. It looks like Darren McKenzie's trying to push him through at the moment. We'll see that high line against the low line. It looks like that low line, Tom Pritchard, that tight I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Paul. It looks like he got a little bit tight through the middle of 3 and 4 there, which slowed up the momentum of that bottom line.
Yeah, definitely, and that's allowed Derek Jacobs to come around the outside here. And who's he bringing there? Is that the 60? That's Brian Bullock there. So he was bringing Brian Bullock around the outside there too with him.
Sure is, and Ray Zerkott in his familiar 31 black. I think he's in a Camaro, I believe he is. In his black car there, Norman Clark in 9th, rounding out the top 10, Adam Malone. But these guys currently in the top 12 are sort of separated by about that 0.2 of a second. So very close running at the front. And then there's a 1.3 second gap down to Ruben Phelps. But that's actually looks like that's coming down rather quickly as well. But the timing really refreshes as quick as I talk. So let's just watch on track. But Daniel Smith still leading the way of round 6 here. Tim Weston, P2. Jamie Nankervis is hold off Tom Pritchard there, or made the move rather, and put his 18 car back up into P3. So once again, as you can see on the screen there, the Cube Retro Radio, a big sponsor of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen series. So thanks again to them, obviously brought to you here on the IndySim Esports Network on a Friday night. As we've said earlier in the broadcast, well, the race just sort of pans out 15 laps into 125. We do have a special event here on the IndySim Esports Network brought to you by the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen series for a race for Jake on the 19th of September. So that's going to be a great broadcast to bring to you guys with some special information. We will, if you have a look at the comments on Facebook, we have posted the link for you to jump on there and donate if you feel like you would like to. doesn't matter whether you're racing or not. Like I said, this is a thing we're doing for a fellow iRacer. And thank you, Paul. You've just put that up in the comments again. Fellow iRacer unfortunately lost his son with a battle to leukemia. So from us at the InSim Esports Network and every fellow iRacer, Darren, again, we wish you all the best, and we can't wait to bring that to you, your family, and all the viewers on the 19th of September. But Paul, we're back to the action. Look, it looks like Daniel Smith. We're back there with Ruben Phelps. My apologies. Ruben Phelps having a nice little battle there with Sam Katakouzenos. He's up 8 positions off his starting position. It was different to see Sam actually back in qualifying. He's done that a little bit lately, which is very unlike Sam. So unless he joined the server late or something of that nature, not sure, but he's doing a good job moving that Bushfink Racing 968 car up the field at the moment. He's really hustling along Ruben Phelps and pushing him right up onto the back of Daniel Beckinsale. Daniel Beckinsale is actually the current leader of this championship, as we spoke about earlier. So Darren having a solid run. He's just in 12th, fighting for 13th, 14th at the moment. So he'll drop a couple of positions here. Darren McKenzie is the first placed car on that has been through pit lane. So Darren McKenzie's in P3. So he's been through pit lane on lap 4. I don't suppose he would have taken tyres, not sure. But he's making his way up the field. Jamie Nankervis has now moved back to 5. It looks like Tom Pritchard has worked something out there in the 6 car. He's come off the bottom and following these guys around the top, and they're definitely pulling away from Jamie Nankervis at the moment, Paul. And it's a 4-car breakaway at the field of this race, 19 laps into 125.
Yeah, there's a couple of cars just starting to drop off the packs they were in there, which allowed a few of the other guys to start catching up behind. So as they drop off, it's going to allow everyone to start getting toes, and I think this 4-car pack's going to become probably a 15-car pack soon.
Yeah, I think you're right, and just seeing there the 0-2 of Darren McKenzie really wanting to make a lead to this motor race. Tom Pritchard has been looking racy early as well, so he'll want to stay on the back of these guys, otherwise that train will catch behind. They slowly are. The more they fight over these positions, the more that the likes of Bullock, Nankervis, Jacobs, etc. will tow up onto the back of this lead group. Darren McKenzie is not going down without a fight on this one. The 0-2 up the inside of Daniel Smith, keeping it 2 wide down the back straight. We'll go into 3 to 4. We'll see whether Darren can clear him before we exit 4. Dives it in pretty hard. Will he get tight through the centre of the corner? He's gone very low. It looks like he's just cleared him. No, not going to be able to clear him. Oh, Darren McKenzie thought he was clear. He looked at it. And I bet you Daniel there was going, no, Darren, don't. So couldn't quite get the 0-2 clear of the 3-1-3 at the lead of the motor race. He's going to have another go down here into turn 1 and 2. Will it be the same as 3 and 4? Will Darren McKenzie be able to make his way up the inside? No, he won't. Daniel holding very, very steady on the outside there. So what this has done, Paul, it's done exactly what you mentioned. Look behind. Look who's coming, Norman Clark. We've also got Derek Jacobs, Jamie Nankervis making this a 7-car battle for the lead of the motor race.
Yeah, this is why I love that high side, because it's quite difficult to pass on the inside there, because that outside just gets a great run around using that draft off the wall, and you can have some pretty good pace around that outside line. But now Daniel Smith looking to take back the lead again from Darren, and does it in one swift movement there and says, nope, I'll have that back.
Well, it looks like that's juice between Daniel Smith and Darren McKenzie. They're now 40 all. And in the tiebreaker, it looks like Darren's trying to take advantage into 3 and 4. So now we just referenced tennis. So why not get amongst it? So Darren McKenzie trying. They're definitely fighting hard, these first 2 at the front. They want to lead this motor race. Here we go again. Big switchback. It's like watching supercars on oval here, Paul. Good to see these cars being able to do this. So they've switched position every single corner for the last 2 laps. Let's see if Darren backs it off and tries to come on the inside. Doesn't look like that. Darren is, oh no, here it comes. Return serve, and we are juice again. Will Darren be able to get that move made out of 2? And he can. And you watch, will we see Daniel do the exact same move? Doesn't look like he's got a good enough run. So that's definitely allowed this field to tighten up at the front, Paul. with 23 laps of the 125. So laps are already ticking over very quickly in this one. We're going to get halfway through this race before we know it. We've only had one caution. That was on lap 3 from memory. So hopefully we keep going green on this one to the end. So Darren McKenzie, the leader. Daniel Smith in 2. You can also see in the background, Sam Katakuzanos has made that move on the 06 of Ruben Phelps to move his way up into P9. And Ruben Phelps just making that one a 10-car chain at the moment at the front, sitting there in P10. They've got a little bit of a gap on 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th you see behind. But what we've seen early on in this one, if they start fighting a little bit as the tyres start to wear and these fuel levels and stuff differ between the drivers, we may see those 5 drivers pull up onto the back of this front group pretty quickly. We'll keep an eye out on that over the next 5 or 10 laps on their retrospective lap pace and see where they end up. But currently it's still that fight for the first position. Darren McKenzie and Daniel Smith leading nothing on the table at the front. They want to lead this race. Everyone else behind will be watching this and just going, okay guys, you keep fighting, we'll just sit here and wait to pick up the crumbs or wait for you to burn your stuff up. So whether that's going to do that with the new updates and whether these cars drive differently is soon to be seen, but we've got some great 2-wide action here at the front of the race. So Darren McKenzie still on the inside there fighting, and oh, that was close. I thought they were going to get into each other. Daniel Smith on the outside. Who's that? Is that Michael Shaw? It looks like Michael. That looks like Michael Shaw's paint job, but it's not. That's just confused me. Who's in that? That just might be Sam Katakuzanos in the Team Bushfink 968. Looked very similar to Michael Shaw's livery from the front there, but as you can see from the side, no, it's not. Thanks for that, Paul. Yeah, sorry, I forgot Shaw's changed his livery, so just another one to keep us on our toes. So it looks like it's settled down at the front here. It looks like Darren McKenzie and Daniel Smith have decided that, okay, we're going to work together a little bit here. We're not going to go too wide for much longer. So they've got a little bit of a margin, which is nothing in the big scheme of things, over Tom Pritchard. He's still holding strong there in P3, so his long pace here seems to be quite good as he's running about that mid-track at the moment. Tim Weston just holding down in 4th. He started 4th. He is 4th. Sam Katakuzanos up into 5th, 16 spots up. So it's heating up at the front. That gap, if we have a look between the front group and the second group, they're pretty much all similar times across those groups at the moment, so not really making any headway. So there it is, 31 of Ray Zerkott leads this second group, chasing down the back of the 09 of Norman Clark in 10th, who is on the back end of the lead group. So Ray, we'll just check this as they've just gone across the line. So Ray Zerkott just a 41.22 as opposed to Norman Clark's 41.1. So they lost a 10th on this lead group last lap around. So we'll see whether that changes. There's a little bit of a gap in the middle of that first group that draft is going to drag them up and back. We're going to see a bit of a yo-yo as this race goes on. Brad Allison moving his way forward there, Paul. He's still, as we know, he elected to start from the back, but he's moved his way up into 15th. He's been through pit lane twice too, so he's been doing well on fuel, using every opportunity to do that. And looks like the 03 car there has a little bit of pace at the moment.
And Daniel Beckinsale has just jumped to the front of this pack, getting a push there from Dimitri Agathos. So they're looking to try and work together and catch up to this pack with Norman Clark and P10, so 1.5 seconds in front of them. So they got a good push there together, and working with Brad Allison as well. I'm sure they can close that gap down if they all work together. But Daniel Beckinsale's got a little bit of a run out here on the rest of them, so they need to all form up a little bit and work together to catch up.
Yeah, most definitely, as we saw there, Brad Allison making the move up the inside there of Dimitri Agathos and Brad Tinney. As we're speaking about Brad, he's actually set an equal fastest lap of the race. It was 40.99 second lap. So he actually shares that with the 06 of Ruben Phelps. So he would have got a nice little draft there through to do that. But yeah, they definitely need to start working together to get up onto the back of this first group. Brad's going to be trying really hard to get up behind Daniel Beckinsale and push him to the front. It looks like someone just had an incident in the background of the wall. Peter Pollard, I believe, has just gone up into the wall. So not sure if it was big enough to go back to a replay. I'll let Paul have a look at that. But I did catch in the corner of my eye a car just having a little bit of a fight with the wall. And no doubt, usually around Auto Club Speedway, the wall wins. But we'll go back to the instant replay. So keep an eye on the 69, I believe it is here. So high into, I believe that is 3 and 4, not 1 and 2. No, it is 1 and 2. High into 1 and 2. No. Yeah, there it is. Mid back straight. That's might have been grabbing a drink or a little bit of a lapse of concentration. So unusual to have a little bit of a scrape, unless he's just testing his limits and how close he can get that car to that outside wall. But lucky he won't get much damage from that one. So we're back to the lead of the motor race. Darren McKenzie still leading the way here, 32 laps into 125. Daniel Smith, it's the same as it was. Daniel Smith still in P2. Tom Pritchard, Tim Weston and Sam Katakouzanos has now created a 5-car breakaway here, 32 laps into round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. So they've currently got a 1.9 second gap over Ruben Phelps. So as we're seeing this stint go longer and longer, Paul, we're seeing different strategies. And by the way that this gap is going at the moment, I have a feeling some people might be saving fuel, because that is a lot to lose. Although looking at it, Ruben's relative is looking pretty stagnant, but for them to be dropping that much, they could be saving some fuel in behind there.
Yeah, I don't know if it's too early to be worrying about that. I don't think they should be concerned on that unless they think they can get home from saving a little bit without needing to stop. But I dare say they'll probably need another 1 or 2 stops.
Yeah, I think they will need 2. These guys at the front will definitely, I believe, with a 75% fuel drop, will need at least another 2 stops. So it'll be the next stop and then another one. The only thing looking at with those times, and it could be draft, is Ruben has been through pit lane twice to top up on fuel. He might be looking and seeing if he can save a little bit of fuel. He might be able to do it with 1 more, but I don't think he can with 75% fuel drop. I think that is the draft. So we'll just watch that one closely, manager that managed the gap, or watch the gap and see how that plays out as we go further into this race. So Ruben Phelps now 2.2 seconds behind that lead group. So not too bad. It seems to have stagnated there. And if we look at the last lap, yeah, that just proves it right there. 42.43 as opposed to a 42.2. So is 2 seconds difference, 2/10 difference rather. That's about the difference between draft and no draft, 2/10 from what we saw earlier in the race. So we will see how this plays out, Paul. We'll go back and have a look at your pick for the night. Norman Clark doing a great job there in P10. Sitting there, very uneventful race for Norman so far, apart from being close to going 4 wide earlier. I believe he was close to being in that. But look what we've seen here. Brad Allison has made his way up onto the back of Norman Clark. So no sooner did we go away from Brad, him chasing, who was he chasing? Can't remember who he's chasing now, but it might have been Daniel Beckinsale. No sooner did we move away, they've pulled right up onto the back of the drivers in front. So if they can get on the back of Derek, push him into Ruben, then they might have something to come onto the back of this front pack. As it looks like they're racy though. We have, that's close. Someone's just into the wall there. Ray Zerkott into Brady Tinnen, who just collects that outside wall in the 27 car. Hopefully not too much damage for him there. Brad really trying to make the move under Jamie Nankervis at the moment. Looks like he will get it done as they go across the line, but same as we've seen at the front, will he be able to clear him? Looks like he definitely has into 1 and 2. So Brad Allison now moves up into the 9th position, and he'll have his eyes set on Daniel Beckinsale up there in 8th and Derek Jacobs there in 7th. So Daniel Beckinsale being 1.1 seconds down the road in front of Brad. But Derek Jacobs having a nice solid run here, Paul, my pick, as opposed to your pick, Norman. They're both having solid runs. Derek really loves the next-gen car. He doesn't usually like fixed setups. He'll be the first to tell you that, but he likes the next-gen car. So good to see our American friend there up in the 8th position as Daniel Beckinsale just makes the move on him for 7th. Really good job for him. He's had a couple of rough rounds, and you've got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's probably about stupid o'clock in the morning over there. So good commitment for him to be here for the next round of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. Obviously, as you can see there, brought to you by the Cube Retro Radio, big supporter of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. So Darren McKenzie's just jumped up to the lead again, I believe. Oh, we have our first blinker in my ear, Paul. Sorry, guys, I have Paul talking in my ear and on the broadcast, so we've got to keep up with it. It looked like Daniel Smith has blinked and he's moved his way down pit lane. Looks like several are. Daniel Smith, Derek Jacobs, Jamie Nankervis, Ray Zercut, Norman Clark are in pit lane. Let's see what their pit lane stop times are as they come out. So they are the first to blink, 39 laps into 125 here at Auto Club Speedway for the California 250 on the Indosim Esports Network on a Friday night. So let's have a look at some of these pit stop times as they come out. We'll let it just take a little bit of time to catch up because we have cars in pits. It looks like Daniel Smith is on his way out of pits. So the first car to blink under green, Daniel Smith on his way out of the pits on lap 38, and he transitioned pit lane in his pit stop was 13.58 seconds stationary. Ray Zercut for 15 seconds for Jamie, 13.8 for Norman Clark. So a second and a half gain there by the likes of Norman Clark and Daniel Smith relative to the guys around them. But Darren McKenzie still leading this motor race. He's just opened that gap ever so slightly to Tim Weston, who now just gets taken by Sam Katakouzanos up into P2. So he's opened that gap up ever so slightly, Paul. Sammy K up 19 spots after starting P1. Absolute amazing drive to be able to navigate through this field, especially with wearing tyres and lower fuel to be able to get up there. And it looks like he's quicker than Darren at the front here at the moment. His last lap wasn't, but it looks like he's got a bit of pace in that 968 Bushfink Racing car. And
a few more guys making pit stops there. So a 27 and 27.6 second pit stop for Dimitri Agathos and Tristan Koch. So I don't know if that's added on to their pit stop times or if that was their current one. I'm just reading off the screen there.
I believe, Paul, that is their current one. Because they've both only been through pit lane once. So that is their current one. Not sure why Tom Pritchard had a 54-second stop. That's to now go down one lap, which majority do anyway when you're pitting under green. But I'm sure he's going to be very close to nearly going 2 laps down at some stage in this one. So whether he's missed his pit box or he had some damage there, not quite sure. But very slow pit stop there from Tommy Pritchard. Derek Jacobs too at a 28.02, as you just mentioned, Paul, too. So that might be another case of the missed pit box, because they do have, like I said, a maximum 75% of fuel that they can drop. We have Kylie commenting too, Paul, again on the broadcast. Andy had major Oculus issues and started lap 4. So Andy started this one 4 laps down by the looks of it.
It's not a good way to start, but at least stayed out of trouble and might have a clean car anyway from that early caution.
Yeah, sometimes it's better. It's going to be a tough way back for Andy. P5 in the championship, not the way he would have wanted to start round 6, but if he can keep it clean, God knows what happens in these oval races as we see Darren McKenzie jump into pit lane, Sam Katakouzanos following him. Looks like they looked like they were both going to go into the fence there or onto the grass, so there was nothing left in the brake pedal coming into pit lane there. So Daniel Beckinsale takes the lead of this motor race 44 laps in. Over the next 4 or so laps, we're going to see everyone in and out of pit lane. We'll go through, have a look at those pit times. Currently, Daniel Smith has the best with a 13.58. Tim Weston does with a 13.38. Daniel Smith with a 13.58. So that's going to work really, really well for those guys once all these pit stops are done, it looks like. So they are. Darren McKenzie still in the pits. Sam Katakouzanos is on his way out of pit lane. Darren McKenzie is too. So we'll jump across to that and see whether Darren got jumped by Sam. He was about half a second quicker through pit lane. So it's going to be very close with Sam and Darren McKenzie on who gets out in front of each other. So we'll just stay on Darren for a moment and just keep an eye out for Sam and see where he is as they come out. It looks like Sam didn't quite get the jump on him, but he definitely did bring some time back. But then as we say that, he hasn't got a good enough exit out of pits. So all that hard work in pits and through pit lane hasn't really paid off there for Sam. But that was only 0.4 of a second. So Daniel Smith up into P2. Daniel Beckinsale, last of them to blink, has now gone into pit lane as well. So he's now on his way out of pit lane. He had a 14.9 second pit stop. So we'll see where he ends up as opposed to the likes of Darren McKenzie and Sam Katakouzanos, who will be the top three of this motor race as they go through turn 1 and 2 and about to come onto the back straight. We'll see Daniel Smith come into our view. It looks like Sam Katakouzanos and Darren McKenzie have taken the lead of the race over Daniel Smith. Paul?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Daniel Smith was playing a bit of a smart game here, letting Sam catch up so he can sit in behind Sam and just push him along so they can close that gap on Darren with a 2-second gap there over P2 and 3. So I wonder if he's just doing a bit of a smart thing and saving some fuel and allowing them to work together and catch up.
46 laps into 125. He'd be very smart to be doing that. Sam will be quick. He'll be able to sit in behind there, save a little bit of fuel, possibly run longer into this stint. We just saw then that we got approximately 44 laps, 43. Let's just go 42 laps of when we probably see people blink. So 42 laps out of a tank of fuel, rather, Paul. So if we look at that there, 46 going across 47, that's around about lap 90 to 92, somewhere around about there if we go green, that we may be looking at the next stop. So I believe we had 2 sets of tyres tonight, including the ones that they are on, so ones they started with, rather. So I don't believe it's going to be a tyre issue on this one and having to double stint any, as they should, most of them, have another set in the bank for the last pit stop. Yeah,
if it was two tyre sets to start with, then I'd say it would only be the ones they started on and one change. So possibly no one might have taken tyres yet at this stage, so maybe they're saving that extra tyre set for the last pit stop.
Yeah, they could be, but track position is going to be key. We saw a little bit of a drop off to the likes of Jamie Nankervis, etc., who did start out of the pole position. Out of P2, I tell a lie. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out as it goes on. See how this gap goes with Darren McKenzie. We do see it slowly dropping down now between Sam Katakouzanos. Ruben Phelps has moved his way up into P3 as well after going through pit lane. So he last pitted on lap 42, a lap earlier than Darren and Sam. So Ruben's now moved his way up into P3. Brad Allison, nice solid job there still. Paul is in P6 after he went through pit lane. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to start first. Brad Allison started at the back of this motor race, even though he qualified in the 3rd position and has moved his way up into the top 6. So good job from Brad there. We're about to go lap 50, Paul. I think as we're about to go lap 50, let's let the viewers listen to a couple of laps on board with a driver of your choice. So we can go and get a drink, etc. Let you watch a couple of laps, and then we'll bring you all the rest of the action for the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series here from Auto Club Speedway on the Intersim Esports Network.
Alrighty, well, let's jump on board with Brady Tinnen, one of our US drivers that's fresh to the league, and we'll go for a lap with Brady.
Sounds good, mate, and a big shout out to Pete Gretton too there on the comment, mate. Thank you so much. We'll be back with you shortly. Oh, we've got a special guest up here into the broadcast booth. Who let this guy in? Peter Gretton, welcome to the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen series, mate, on the Indersim Esports Network. Nothing you're unusual with being in the booth with us?
Yeah, good evening, Aiden and PJ. You know, I'll be late to my own funeral, mate. But yeah, I was just watching the last few laps, and how good's it been? It's I tell you, PJ and Aiden, that the stream's looking good, eh?
Yeah, thanks, mate, and thanks for jumping in because you timed that really well. I was running back to continue the commentating, and I just need a couple more minutes. So if you could just cover me with Paul for a little second, that would be really great, mate.
Yeah, no dramas. I'll try and catch on where you's left off. We're riding on board with this battle here. I think that's Phelps in third and Allison behind in the 03 car. So look at that. They've got the draft happening there, and I don't even know what track we're at. PJ, if you could just quickly fill me in.
Well, we are at Auto Club Speedway, a 2-mile track. So, nice big open wide speedway track, which you missed in the early laps. We had 5 wide around here with a caution in lap 4.
Well, I definitely would have liked to see that. You know how excited I get when we see 3, 4, 5 wide, but it looks to be sort of set themselves back in, Paul, as they I think that's 175 laps. Am I seeing correctly? 25 laps. So 125 laps. There we go. Full screened it. Lap 54 of 125 laps. So not even halfway through yet, and it looks pretty close. What I've seen, Mackenzie, Sammy Katakunas, look, now I'm stuffing it up. Sammy K, Phelps, Allison, and Tingen. Well, Tinnen is your top 5, and we're still riding on board with this battle here, 06 of Reuben Phelps. And what a lap that was that we went around this circuit, and I just caught half of it. I didn't really have much audio, but that was a real good lap. And just jump on board a little bit further back in the field now, with car 103. Oh, I'm all over the shop today.
It's 313 there, Daniel Smith. So back in P8, Daniel Beckinsale edged in front in P7.
Yep.
So Daniel Beckinsale, P7, is our current points championship leader. Second place, Jason Holdsworth in our championship, having a bit of a rough night, down in 24th there. So not too sure what's the go with. He's just cut out on us there, so that could be half his issue maybe.
But that just adds to his woes. He was sitting back there in 24th. He's down 1 lap, and he's up there in the championship. Hopefully he can make his way through as we jump on board with our race leader Darren McKenzie, and he's no stranger to up the front here.
So it looks like Sam Katakuznos has closed that gap now. So there was a 2-second gap there earlier from Darren, and Sammy K is now right on the back of Darren here. So things are starting to heat up at the front for the race lead.
Yeah, and it's all about sticking in with these middle sections of the race and their cautions and their if there's any cautions, and their pit strategies are unfolding, and they're just clicking over the laps. Lap 58, so still plenty of racing to go, but have a look at these shots as now Sammy K is really putting the pressure on. I've been impressed the last few rounds too with Sammy K. He's really stepped it up, as you see. There's a guy in the pit lane. I'm trying to have a look at his name, but yeah, I'm not too sure about their pit strategies. Paul, what are we looking at in terms of who do you think is on top of their game with their pit strategies?
Well, at the front here, so Darren and Sam both pitted at lap 43. Ruben behind at lap 42, and Brad Ellison, Brady Tinnen also at lap 43. So we did have a couple of these guys stop on the early caution around lap 4 for a bit of a splash and top up. So yeah, we can probably get what are we looking at, about 39 odd laps there race pace. So Daniel Smith pitted earlier, and he's just made the dive into pit again a couple of laps ago. So where are we there with Daniel Smith? So he stopped at lap 56 now. So that could have been because of his earlier stop there. So we're still looking at possibly a 2-stop to go still at this rate.
Yeah, and I reckon they're going to be holding on for any cautions, but they're separating now. But I think what that would have made, that you just mentioned there, Paul, the little splash and dash put there on that caution is probably going to extend their sort of pit window for this next one. So let's see if they're going to use that this time or the second one. But 2 stops, I think that's looking quite evident.
I'm back, gentlemen, and I was just in the background listening to that. Sorry to jump in. And Paul, you mentioned Daniel Smith. What I find very interesting, he's been up the front of this race for the whole race, and he came down on lap 56, as you mentioned. So that's a total different strategy to Darren McKenzie. So we remember Daniel Smith and Darren side by side for several laps at the beginning of this one. So his pit lane, Daniel's pit lane or pit time was only 14.38, which is about standard. So it doesn't look like there was any damage or anything special done there. So I think you boys have nailed it on the head with having to, it's who wants to do that short run early. It looks like Darren's decided to do that short run early, and these other guys might do it after their next stop, or if they've got to do another one before the end, which I'd say they will.
Well, I've just got to jump in because the way things are going, I'm not sure if even doing a 2-stop, I think Darren and Sam could be in trouble here. So if they run it out to about lap 82, I think, and then they can do another 39 odd laps,
they're going to be about 7 laps short.
They're still going to be short, yeah. So this could be very good for these guys that are only 1 lap down now, because they'll be able to do 2 stops where these other guys will have to do a 3rd stop for a splash and dash.
And just that, sorry, Peter, you go.
Oh, I think they'll be holding off. They'll be fuel saving in the hopes of a late caution, because you've got they're grouping up. They're using all the draft, as you see. So I wonder if fuel saving, because that's 7 laps. I'm not too sure if you're going to be able to save that, but I think maybe under a caution, possibly, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't think 7 laps would be possible, as we're on board with the 0-3 of Brad Ellison with Ruben Phelps chasing him down. I was just going to mention that before, Paul and Peter, that we talked about the fuel, and the guys a lap down being in a really, really good spot actually with their fuel strategy. But Ruben Phelps and Brad Ellison have been through pit lane 3 times themselves as well, and are sitting there in 3rd and 4th. So if our Einstein mathematician calculations that we've all just come up with 3 different concepts, they could be in a good position in this race as well if they do have enough to stretch out these final couple of spots and not have to make that splash and dash.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Phelps is starting to put the pressure on. Allison we just riding on board with before, and I think they're just like I said and touched on earlier, is they're just going to stick on the back. And those guys, good to mention, there's a few guys there. I'm looking at the timing now, Allison, Phelps and Tinnen. So maybe they're in the box seat.
Yeah, well, let's go straight to the person himself. Let's go to Ruben, because Ruben generally doesn't mind a chat. So let's bring Ruben up into the commentary booth at the moment, and let's get it firsthand from Ruben.
Always good to get him in.
So Ruben Phelps, Aiden, broadcast booth, mate, here with Peter Gretton and Paul Jackson. Sorry to jump on while you're mid-race. I know you don't mind and want to come and give us all the goss. Give us a little bit of a rundown on your race so far, if you can, and how the fuel and pit stop strategy is going for the 06 Aussie Esports Cup.
The strategy is going okay. I seem to not be having the front end of my car's not reacting to what I would like it in this race. So I've been... and also the draft has not really been working too well, and I've just sort of missed out on a couple of chances of getting anywhere with the groups. But at the moment it's okay. I'm just sort of trying to work with Brad at the moment, but for some reason, every time we've been ahead of each other, or I've been ahead of Brad, the front end seems to push, and then now I've decided to give Brad a chance to be in the lead of it, and now his car's doing that. So there's a bit of a strange feeling in this car right now, but at the moment I'm just trying to wait to the next set of pit stops.
Do you think that's from the update at all? Has that affected the cars, or?
I'm not 100% sure. It could be the update, but I can't guarantee because I haven't done laps in this car around this track before, so I can't really give you a exact answer on that. But there could be a little bit of a front end grip change that we don't know about.
And fuel rise, Ruben, two more times through pit lane to make it to the end, or one from your end?
Yeah, definitely 2 more stops.
And is that an easy two? You don't need to save to do that? Because we did see Daniel Smith, who was fighting for the lead of this race for very much the first portion of the race, did a very short second stint there and jumped down pit lane.
Yeah, you've got to think there's a 10-lap difference, so you can do 38 laps as a set of a whole stint here with the fuel. So if you're looking at, there's going to be a situation where someone's going to pit on lap 48 to go and maybe go to lap 38, or someone's going to go right through to lap 11 to 10 laps to go to the last stint. So it's going to be interesting if this stays green, but it's running pretty good.
Well, it looks like we've had a couple of guys blinking. Jamie Nankervis just down pit lane. So we might let you get back to it, mate. Thanks for making yourself available, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end on the podium.
Yep, we'll do.
All right, guys, Ruben Phelps there. There's the inside information. Paul, you got it spot on with your fuel count.
So that means sitting pretty is Daniel Smith at the moment, who last stopped on lap 56. So Daniel Smith's definitely got it worked out as well. If he can get around in front of these other guys now that are starting to look at pitting shortly. But as we see Andy Barber there coming into pit lane, but he's a few laps down from missing the start there with technical difficulties. But yeah, as I said, so yeah, Daniel Smith, I think, could be sitting pretty for a podium here.
Yeah, he's looking really, really good. I've just done my quick calculations on Daniel. It looks like if it does go green to the end, he'll probably come across the line with about 2 laps of fuel left in it. So strategy for the 313 looking really good there of Daniel Smith, but Darren McKenzie's still leading the motor race. Looks like Ruben Phelps has had enough of sitting behind Brad Allison as we went back there as well, but Darren McKenzie is still in the lead of the motor race. Sam Katakuzanos up there into P2. Ruben Phelps, as we just mentioned, Racy on the back there, Brad Allison in P4. So big shout out there to Brad, Paul and Peter after starting rear of field on this one, or electing to start rear of field after qualifying his car in P3. So really, really good drive for him at the moment, just as we cross over halfway of round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen series. So Peter, thanks again, man, for jumping up and being a part of the broadcast. You didn't have to do that. That's a very unexpected visitor tonight, but a very welcome one nonetheless.
Yeah, no worries, mate. It was I was having no luck. I was trying to get some practice in a supercar in Long Beach, and that's pretty hard. And so I thought I'd watch your stream and shared it around, and Paul gave me the offer. So it's always good to jump on board, but it's good to watch these guys. McKenzie, he's always strong, but I think was that McKenzie yes, McKenzie's in the lane.
That's
sorry,
one of Jason Holdsworth. The one of Jason Holdsworth there, Peter, down pit lane. So Jason was already a lap down, so he's just going to go another lap, maybe 2 laps down. So he'll get one of those back at the end of the race. But yeah, that was Jason Holdsworth down pit lane at the moment. Sam Katakouzenos and Darren McKenzie, though, guys, really fighting it out tough at the front of this race. They've got a 2.5 second gap on Ruben Phelps and Brad Allison, who is slowly just creeping away from our 5th place getter, Brady Tinnen. Try to say that 3 times quickly, guys. But yeah, they're slowly pulling away from him at the moment. And then there's a big gap down to 6 at Daniel Beckinsale. So we had 1 caution early, Peter. I don't know if you saw that or spoke about that with Paul while I was gone for those couple of minutes. We had 1 caution early after lap 3, and then we have gone green so far for the next 71. So some great driving by all the guys out here for the 6th round of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series.
Let's see if they can keep it green to the end, but you know the elbows are going to be out, but that's a long way away yet. They're just clicking over the laps as we ride on board with the race leaders. And Sammy K is still there and thereabouts, and I think you're going to see them dive in at the same time. You would probably see their pit strategies stay the same, I think, for these two, because that's where you want to be. They're at the front of the motor race, and I wonder if Mackenzie, I know the draft has changed since the last few updates, but I wonder if Mackenzie wants to have a crack at getting the draft, and maybe if he wants to save a bit of fuel, but he looks confident out in front, that's for sure.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty much put himself in a position that he needs to race as fast as he can at the moment with what we've just figured out with the fuel drops. So Darren McKenzie last through pit lane on lap 43. So he's going to be looking to come down pit lane, I would suggest, in around about lap 80, 81, maybe even 79, depending on that draft. So it's anywhere from probably that 78 to 81 lap mark. And I'm sure Sam Katakouzenos, who we see take the lead of this race for the first time tonight, 76 laps in, will be down pit lane on the exact same lap. Ruben Phelps was down pit lane a lap before them as well. So he might, depending how much he got saved behind Brad there earlier, whether he can pit the same lap. But yeah, as Paul highlighted about 10 laps ago, Daniel Smith is in the box seat of this one.
Definitely one to watch at the end of the race, that's for sure. But I wonder if Mackenzie's just pulled off there a bit. But like you said, Aidan, he's really got to really push to the end of the race as he just closes that gap now to Sammy K. But Sammy K, he's doing an awesome job now, so he just wants to keep it clean. This car doesn't even look like it's got a scratch on it.
Yeah, both of them look pristine at the moment, so very well presented cars there, Peter. And you weren't in the broadcast, so I'm not sure whether you heard it at all. We do have a very special event, and ladies and gentlemen that have just tuned into the InterSim Esports Network tonight, we do thank you for doing that. And of course, you can watch us across all our socials, obviously here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, at InterSim Esports Network, IN2SIM. So thank you for tuning in. But Peter, back to what I was saying, we've got a very special event here on the InterSim Esports Network that we're proud to bring to everybody on Sunday, the 19th of September. It's actually called the RedKite Race for Jake, as you can see up on your screen at the moment, Peter, and everyone watching. So this is an idea that was brought up by the likes of Michael Shaw. So unfortunately, Darren McKenzie, who is in this race, currently P2 behind Sam, a week or two ago, unfortunately lost his 12-year-old son, lost his battle with leukemia. So they've put together a big fundraiser through the RedKite Foundation, and you can go on and either fundraise yourself and then go onto that link and upload those monies to the charity, or you can just go on and donate some money to the RedKite Foundation for the race for Jake. So Peter, we're looking forward to that one. That's going to be a really big broadcast. It will be the Sunday, the 19th of September, for 80 laps around Daytona International Speedway. And there'll be a lot of special things that don't happen in our standard broadcasts that we will be supplying or doing for Darren McKenzie and his family, and then also all the viewers at home and everyone that wants to support it. So Peter, we're looking forward to that one. Of course, there is an open invitation for you to come across and commentate that one with myself and Paul. Obviously, we want to make ourselves available for yours too, but as we've always spoken about, your broadcasting happens the same night that we do ours most times. So, but anyway, we'll see what we can sort out in the coming weeks. But, mate, we're really looking forward to bringing that event to everyone here on the InterSim Esports Network.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a show. And just before we get back to the racing, I'm just learning of this as some of the viewers are. So, Darren McKenzie, mate, if you watch it back, my thoughts are with you. And dig deep, get behind that cause for the RedKite Foundation and also for Darren McKenzie. And it's unfortunate, just another poor soul loses their battle to, you know, another disease and leukemia. It's losing a lot of taking a lot of lives, I should say. But definitely get behind that event. It's going to be a cracker, and Darren McKenzie and family, everyone here from the InterSim network and also the LR Esports. I'll chuck something up on mine as well too. The links and everything in my next broadcast on Sunday, boys. But definitely get behind that one. It's going to be a cracking event.
I'm sure that Darren and everyone involved, especially Michael Shaw and people involved with all the hard work behind the scenes being able to make this happen, will be very happy with that, Peter. So thank you so much. But we will go back to the race as we see it. Darren McKenzie had gone through pit lane when we started talking about the event. So we seen him come in. We haven't brought that to you, but he now comes out of the motor race in P3 in the 02 car. There's that Daniel Smith up into P4, and that gap's quickly dropping down onto Darren McKenzie. So let's just keep an eye on Daniel Smith at the moment and see whether he comes right onto the back of Darren. Doesn't look like he will, because Darren's going to have better treads. So,
but just remember that Daniel Smith is possibly only going to need one more stop here, where Darren is going to need two. So Daniel Smith now sitting in P2 is looking very strong to take out the win here.
Yeah, definitely. And we set a 39 lap end. So Darren came down pit lane, 38 laps roughly to a tank. So Darren came down pit lane on lap 80. So it looks like by lap 118 to 120, depending, is going to be where he can get to the end. So I'd suggest he might come in around lap 86 to 88 and quickly do his top up then, and then go to the end and maybe hope for a caution. Because if we look at 56 was the last time Daniel Smith came through. So he's going to be looking at coming through pit lane in the next 10 to 12 or so laps himself. So Daniel Smith will have to blink about 6 or 7 laps after Darren will. And Sam Katakuzanos with a massive loss of ground. He's moved back to P10 after being in the lead there with Darren McKenzie. His pit time was 55.22 seconds. So that's the third driver we've seen tonight with a pit time of at least 55 seconds, and it's really not done any favours for their race.
Yeah, maybe downshifted on the approach, or even possibly maybe, a 40-second stop and hold speeding in pit. So that's, tack that onto your 14 seconds that the guys are doing. And, you know, we'll have to talk to Sammy K hopefully later on and see what that's happened. But I think that's a possibility, Aiden, speeding in pits, rather.
Yeah, I think you've got that one in one there, Peter. Those times are adding up to look like that. So I think you've definitely got that in one.
It's definitely hard to pull one of these cup cars up. You know, you're flat out. You just get it, your foot's flat to the floor the whole race, and then you got to get it stopped. And you don't want to be downshifting because you just lock up them rears and compression lock it. So I think that's what's happened, but we can't really confirm it until we talk to the man himself. And I'm sure he'll definitely jump into the booth for a post-race interview. But really, really unfortunate for Sammy K. He's back in 11th.
Yeah, very unfortunate. We see Brad Allison too moving up into P3 now. So first time, I believe, well, since he was fighting with Ruben Phelps there, he's moved himself up into P3. He's got a good gap there on P4. Let's just go through some of the big winners and losers of the night so far. So Darren McKenzie, who we've just spoken about again, is up 5 spots on his starting position, leading the motor race after starting 6th. Brad Fenley, 19 spots up after starting 8th. Sam Kays, we just mentioned, up 10 spots after starting 21st, who was leading this motor race. Dave Oliver and Peter Pollard both with 9 and 10 spots up on their starting position respectively, and of course Tristan Koch is there up 2 spots. So let's see how this pans out. We currently have 23 cars on the lead lap, with now about to be in the next 2 laps 40 laps to go here for the California 250 at Auto Club Speedway. Nice little battle pack here. That purple car changed lanes really quickly then up into the top lane. I believe that might have been Peter Pollard, so he wasn't happy. He saw the draft, so he was waiting for the 668 car there of Dave Oliver and says, no, thank you, I'm out of here. I am gone. But Dave Oliver now says, no, I'm going to run in front of you as well. So this is going to help the people behind them, the likes of Brady Tinnan, Tristan Koch, etc. So definitely heating up here, guys. We are 85 nearly into 125 after 1 caution early 3 laps in. We have gone green, and we were just 3 wide then as we went down the back straight too. So a lot to play out, and it looks like a long time to go, but ladies and gentlemen, they're doing lap times of 42 odd seconds. They're looking at about 4.5 minutes for every 10 laps. So this thing will be all done and dusted in the next 16 to 20 minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, everyone tuning in here on the InSim Esports Network, like I said, also, whether it's through YouTube, through Facebook, or through Twitch, be sure to hang around. We can see you there viewing live now on Facebook. Write a comment, shout out to us. We'll interact with you. We've got another 20 minutes of racing here from the California 250 at the Auto Club Speedway. So look forward to all that. I can also see a Twitter stream chat as well, I believe, or something. So feel free to jump in. But Peter babbled on a bit then because you're trying to get it all out all the time. But, mate, great night for racing. Great night for racing, especially at Auto Club in the next gen.
It's always good racing in the Cup cars, as we see here every Friday night. We touched on it probably a few laps ago, that was 3 wide, just a little bit 3 wide, and that's just what's going to happen, and this is what you're going to see. So you got to stick with us through these middle stages of the race, because now to the end, what have we got? 35 laps to go. This is where the elbows are out. Remember, 1 more pit stop, especially for these leaders. So anything can happen. Mackenzie can, don't want to give him the curse or anything, but he could clip a wall, or someone could clip him and he could be out of contention. Smith, for mine, and I think we all agree on that, is in the box seat. But Mackenzie, time and time again, he shows us that he's got the goods. He definitely does. He's still leading this motor race. Smith, Allison, Zerkart and Phelps rounds out your top 5. But then you got Weston, Agathis, Fenley, Bullock, Nankovich, that rounds out your top 10, and Sammy K just outside.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out because we're going to see Daniel Smith possibly blink and come down pit lane in the next 2 or 3 laps. He was last down pit lane on lap 56, so he's getting to the end of that fuel stint. That'll be enough to see the 313 to the end of this motor race. But also Ray Zerkart, who's up into 4th. Sorry, my apologies there, guys. Tim Weston in the 20 car, who's up into 4th, came down the pit lane on lap 56, the same lap as Daniel Smith, and he is currently sitting there in P6. So Tim Weston and Daniel Smith are definitely ones to keep an eye out for this one.
Yes, this battle here is heating up. We're riding on board with Daniel Smith now. He just wants to keep his nose clean. These guys have been working together. I've just been having a look, and you'll see that what I've learnt, rather, is there's no loyalty. You can run with someone for 99 out of 100 laps, but that 100 laps, you're just going to leave him high and dry. We've seen it time and time again, so don't let that fool yourself. You see it in real life as well. These guys, they're all mates out on track. They're all mates outside, but there's no loyalty. Aidan, I think you're a fan of Cup car racing, probably a little bit more than me, but I'm not saying I don't like it. But one thing I have noticed is You'll find a guy, a running mate rather. You'll run with him, but then you want to win the race. Everyone, even Shaw down in 20th, he wants to win this motor race. Probably not going to, but everyone wants to win a race. And these guys, they're just going to just hang on the back, get that speed down the straight, and have a crack right in the last probably 15 laps, I think.
Yeah, you're right. And these guys are racers, or guys and girls, through iRacing. Yes, it's a virtual platform, but these guys are racing. They take it seriously, and they want to bring home the win for their team and family. So, as there we go, the 313 blinks, and he is making his way into pit lane for the final stop, which will take him to the end of lap 125. And we've just gone caution. Daniel Smith is going to be hating every single minute of that, but Tim Weston, box seat. He is in the box seat.
It's definitely who pit last, isn't it? Mackenzie, you probably see. Well, do you see he could probably come home? I think you may see people come home. This is what brought out the caution. Oh.
Yeah, it'll be a close one, but that is big contact down the main straight. But yeah, I might see Darren stay out. I'm not sure whether they'll make it home, but it's definitely going to work positive for Tim Weston, and Daniel Smith will be absolutely spewing. I'll try and grab him now.
Yeah, that was. Oh, look, there's. Oh, we're still watching. We're still watching a replay. Come on, Pete, get onto it. But as we go back live, yeah. So I'm not too sure who's at fault there, but we don't really adjudicate it on that. That's up to race control and the post-race penalty systems. But yeah, I'm sure we'll hear what happened then in a minute.
Well, sorry, Paul. We're about to hear from the man himself, Daniel Smith. Yellow flag as you entered pit lane came out. Your luck. You're on the best strategy. You've got to be filthy with that.
Oh, absolutely cheering. That was, yeah, good accidental happening, that one.
So you're happy with having the caution come out?
Yeah, I just chucked on a new set of tyres, got fuel to the end.
Okay, because the way that strategy went, we can't tell you, but because we're broadcasting, but it was looking good. So you were due to come in pit lane anyway, but it's just put you back in the pack a little bit to where you were running at the front.
Yeah, it's definitely helped catch up. I wasn't sure if the strategy was going to pay off, double stinting the first set of tyres. But considering I ran out of fuel as I pulled into the pit box, it couldn't have come at a better time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Smith, it's Pete here, mate. That was like, we knew you were running on fumes, but to run out as you get into the pit box, well, we don't like hindsight, or everyone likes hindsight rather, that what would have happened if that caution didn't come out? You may have really slipped down to the end of the field.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think a lot of the front guys need to pit again, but I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't keeping track of what they were doing.
We have, but we can't share it.
All good, boys.
No worries, Daniel. Just real quickly, what race channel do you want to go back up into, mate, so we can make sure you're in the right spot for the remainder of the race?
I think it was Bin Chicane 1.
Yep, no worries. All right, mate, we'll let you go, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the race.
No worries. Thanks, lads.
Thank you.
And with that caution out, that's really interesting that Darren McKenzie has opted to stay out and not pit. So Darren must be feeling confident that he can try and stretch out to the end with only one stop, possibly. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going through Darren's mind at the moment, staying out with everyone else pretty much pitting in.
Hey, yeah. PJ, while we got you there, sorry, Aiden, while we got you there, PJ, you reckon we'd be able to jump on board with Mackenzie and just listen, see if we've got any clutch modulation and see if he is saving? I think Aiden's just about to say he probably won't make it home, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if he is really riding the clutch and just, here we go here.
Yeah, well, we have a listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. I was going to reference that it was funny talking to Daniel Smith before, because the way we read it, if that didn't go yellow as he came through pit lane, he would have come out run to the end and he essentially possibly would have taken the lead of the race and possibly won it. But he didn't seem aware of where anyone else was around him in relation to their strategy. So that was really interesting. But now it's evened it all up, and apart from a couple at the front, or sorry, I tell a lie, apart from Darren McKenzie, everyone else is looking good. But Darren McKenzie will bring us to the green again. Margaret, clean racing so far. Yeah, we're only 2 cautions in. Who are the picks? So Paul's pick was Norman Clark, and mine was Ruben Phelps. Not Ruben Phelps. Derek Jacobs at the beginning of the broadcast before qualifying. So there's the answer, Margaret. But we're green again. Peter and Paul. Darren McKenzie brings us to the start-finish line, and we are going past the finish line now. Green flag, and we are under 40 laps left of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series here from Auto Club Speedway. So Peter, Darren McKenzie not holding back early in this final stint, trying to get the jump on Brad Allison. Tell you what, Brad Allison's in the box seat for a solid result tonight, guys. 95 was his last pit lane, transition through pit lane, lap 95. He's up 1 position off his qualifying spot. He decided to start from the end of line, so back of field, which put him out of P31 or 32. And now we are 90 odd laps, or more than 90 laps into this motor race. He's fighting for the lead.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see if he can do it. And one person, we were just talking about picks, and I'm going to pull one out right now. I think Nankervis. I've just watched him off the restart, and good restart off him. He's down 2 from where he started, but he's sitting comfortably in 3rd. Look at that, is side by side now with is that McKenzie?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, he was.
It is. He's just out on the side of caution there, but that's allowed. I'm trying to catch up. 313. That's you. Yeah, it's weird. His timing's not catching up with.
Yeah, he's gone a lap down because of that pit stop and that caution. So with Daniel Smith, he's ended up a lap down somehow out of that.
That's why I was confused, Paul, when we were on board with him when he was under caution, that he thought it was a great thing. And I'm like, every time I've gone down pit lane and the yellow comes out, it's not a good thing. So that was very unfortunate. He's working his way back up. But yeah, Paul, Jamie's definitely on the hunt tonight. He did put it out of P2. He ran at the front early and he's just been sitting there. So the 18 car looking very strong there in the back end of this one. So 25 laps to go. It is Brad Allison in the 03, Darren McKenzie in the 02, and Jamie Nankervis in the 18 in the top 3 positions this race. But then we have Ray Zerkart, Brad Fenley and Norman Clark rounding out your top 6, and currently they are the only 6 cars in the lead lap of this motor race.
Yeah, surprising. We only got 6, and we've had 2 cautions. I missed one at lap 4, and there was one just there, but we have a look at this mid-pack. The elbows are definitely out. What have we got? 24 left. We're riding on board with the leaders. That's Allison and McKenzie. McKenzie's right up there, and there's the out-of-sync car of Smith, so he's a lap down, but Zerkart and Nankervis are behind. Look at them go now. So definitely elbows out with 23 to go, Aiden. We're going to see, hopefully, this is what I want to see, 5 wide to finish.
Yeah, hopefully. It's definitely going to be on at the front. But we saw a lot of 2 wide action earlier, and after 3 or 4 laps of it, the car on the inside just dragged itself back up onto the outside line. But it's getting to game time now with just about 20 laps to go. I don't think we're going to see any of that. We're hoping that outside line, well, that outside line at the moment is the leaders of this motor race, and the inside line isn't. So I'm not sure who the 66 is. I don't see a Dimitri Agathos, so he's currently a lap down as well. So outside line. So we'll see how this pans out. So Brad Allison still leading the way. They're coming up on some lap traffic with no draft at the moment in front, so they're going to want to split this one down, split this driver down the middle. So watch this little exchange as they come into 3 and 4 and draw right up in the back of another lap car in front of them.
Yeah, it won't take long before they get back into their single line, but it looks like both lines look to be working for them. There's a mix of cars that are in the hunt, and not, but this downside, the inside line rather, Smith's holding that as we found out that he's, oh, look at this. Look at this. There we go. 3 wide almost, Mackenzie. Oh, there we go. We need another 2 jumping in there. Mackenzie around the outside. He's got no one running with him. He's probably going to fall down the field here and probably have to just slot in the back.
Careful, Jim. Sorry, I'm just watching this in behind you, Peter. My apologies.
You're right, mate. You're right. He needs to find a mate, really, because Allison, he'd be looking at that in his mirror. Look at his timing there. You can see he's just gone out to a 3.2 second lead now. And have a look at this. Oh, wow. Number 2 and number 18. That's Mackenzie and Nankervis. They've raced around each other a lot. They know exactly how each other drives, but they're having a good battle, and they're not going to let off. They're definitely not going to let off. They're probably bending their pedals in their rig.
Yeah, they just need to be very careful here to not battle too hard, because sniffing on their heels is Ray Zerkut and Brad Fenley. In 4th and 5th, we did see when Jamie and Darren battled it last lap, the gap that Brad pulled on them. Now they've gone 2 wide again and fighting for position. Brad pulls a little bit more on them. Brad does have better tyre wear, though, than Darren McKenzie by 15 laps, unless he's double stinting now. But Brad and Jamie both pitted on the same lap, so Jamie must be running on the older tyres as well. But time will tell. We've got, what do we got now? So that's 19 laps left of the Auto Club Speedway California 250 here on the InSim Esports Network. Brad Allison doing a great job though, guys. I'm starting off the back. I know I've said that previously on the broadcast, but it takes a lot of skill, a lot of concentration over a good hour and a half of racing to be able to get a fine result, which currently it looks like he's going to get, but hopefully I haven't just put the curse on him.
Yeah, definitely. If you watch sitting at home and you're having a quiet bevy on a Friday night and you're watching this motor race, I tell you, if anyone says just turning left is easy, I challenge you to come out on track every Friday night and just do it, because it's not. You know, you may think NASCAR's easy. It's all happening, especially now. It's the race to the finish, the strategies, the empty tanks, the clean tyres. That's what you want, and to have everything line up. Oh, look at this. Nankervis really getting on the back now. And that was a 3/10 lead he had on him, Allison, on Nankervis. And Nankervis has really put the foot down. And this group of 3, this trio, is starting to set themselves in a groove. But these 2 cars behind, side by side, they want to sort themselves out. And Mackenzie drops back to 4th. So maybe he is double stinting them tyres.
Nah, Darren McKenzie will be on the fuel save big time now for not pitting. So to get home, we're going to see Darren really drop off the pace here.
And Jamie in the 18 car, I referenced really early on in the broadcast, on that first lap, he just started that high line. So yes, Jamie and Brad don't have to worry about fuel, but I think Jamie might be a little bit better on tyres here than Brad. He's run that high line the whole race, except for when he's been in little battles or that mid sort of line where he's running now. So I think the 18 car there at Nankervis, has a little bit over him. He's just waiting for that right time to bite. They are coming up to lap traffics as well, so this is going to play a part in the final 15 laps of this motor race, gentlemen.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Let's do that. We'll probably need a drink for 2 minutes while we wait to call the end of the race, so I agree with that. Paul, let's jump on board with Jamie Nankervis for a couple laps. Okay, there's our second place or second position driver at the moment, the 18 car of Jamie Nankervis. That's what it's like at Auto Club Speedway in the virtual California and the USA in the Next Gen Cup cars here for the Australasian. Sorry, I'm used to saying that. My apologies. The Full Throttle Friday night Next Gen series here on a Friday night. As Peter mentioned, not only probably about 20 minutes ago, how hard it is to turn left as opposed to going left and right. It's not as easy as it looks, but Jamie Nankervis really wants to get that run or get that move done on Brad Allison at the moment. He's not trying to do it. He's had plenty of opportunities, but he's just sitting there in behind him and waiting for the moment. So just looking at the gaps at the moment, Darren McKenzie's lost third place of the motor race to Brad Fenley. Brad Fenley is on the same pace as the two in the front, so he's not really making his way up onto the back of them. But as I say that, yeah, it looks like he's just about that 1 second gap at the moment. So the fight is definitely on for P1 and 2 at the moment. Hopefully we can bring another one to you and have a fight for P3. So we'll see how that goes over the remaining 10 laps of this motor race. So last lap looks like Brad Fenley just dropped 0.2 of a second to the leading two. Darren McKenzie pumped out a 41.97, so he mustn't be fuel saving anymore now that he is in behind Brad Fenley. So we'll see how that one pans out. So when's the move going to happen at the front here, Peter and Paul? When's Jamie going to make the move for the lead of this motor race? Is he going to do it this far out, or is he going to try on the last lap when your competitor's going to have an idea of where he's going to make the pass?
Oh, just roll the dice, really. But I'd like to see him fan out around the last corner. But you'd probably see he'd make his move. He's eyeing him off. I noticed he's definitely making himself known in the mirrors, is Nankervis. As you see now, he's just having a look. There you go. Or he might be cooling down his engine as well, popping out, getting some cold air. But he's definitely going to... If he sees the move, I think he's going to take it. But he's just been patient, as you mentioned, Aidan. As you can see there now, he's definitely making his car as wide as it can. He wants to get Allison's attention off where he should be going and making him look in his mirrors, because he's right up there now. I think we may even see a move in the next couple of laps, because he's right underneath the rear wing there, Aidan, for sure. Look at him.
Yeah, he is, and he'll be definitely giving Brad a couple of taps on that rear bumper every now and again, safely of course, and just going, hey Brad, I'm still here. Hey Brad, I'm still here. We've got the 20 car at the moment, but he is not a part of this race. He is laps down, but keep an eye out. Brad Fenley has brought it down. You can see him there in the yellow Mustang in the Stanley backed, it looks like Marcus Ambrose sort of livery from back in the day. So he is slowly, he's now brought it to under half a second. So we are going to have a 3-way win for this motor race. Hopefully the 20 car knows that and he can get out the way, because we are under 10 laps to go. So shouldn't be racing the leaders, but I know that Brad Fenley's going to want him to race the leaders a bit to catch up onto the back of them at the front, because that gap's just now fluctuated out that 10th or 2. So Peter, 117 into 125. It's definitely coming down to the end, and Jamie Nankervis, in my opinion, is going to make his move down the back straight on the last lap.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess. And just to note, Brad Fenley rather, who's sitting there in third position, fourth in this little battle here. Of course, the 20's out of sync, as you mentioned, but mover of the night, up 24 positions from where he started. So that'd be a massive achievement. He should be happy with third and just not to do anything silly. And I'm sure he's hoping these guys at the front battle. But here we go. Here's that high line you mentioned from Allison, and they all creep up.
Yeah, and funny you mentioned that. I know it says on the live timing Brad Allison started out of third. He's leading the race. Brad Allison actually chose to take an EOL at the start of this race. So Brad Allison started from dead last on the grid. So great job by both the Brads there from very deep in the pack to have those two cars in the top 3 at the end of the motor race.
Darren couldn't make it home. He's down in the lane as a couple are. So I think a couple as you can see on bottom of screen now. I think those guys were probably caught short and probably hoping for another caution. Aidan, what do you think?
Yeah, it was a gamble, run of the dice there, Peter. It was bin it or win it, pretty much. Come out and just try and run pace and hope for a caution. So worked and didn't work for people in the last caution, and it definitely hasn't worked for them now, because even if we did have a caution, our first 5 place getters are pretty much okay on fuel to run through a caution and get to the end and do a green right checker. But stranger things have happened, Peter. This is motorsport, and we never ever know until that checkered flag is waved. So Brad Allison still clean set of heels at the front there in P1. Jamie Nankervis P2. Brad Fenley finally, just every time he tries to get up on the back, it feels like he loses that draft, and it looks like he's finally getting there to be able to make a fight for a possible second or first position here. So we're down the back straight, lap 120 into 125, 4.5 laps to go of the Auto Club Speedway, virtual Auto Club Speedway in California, United States of America. So I'm just looking forward to this one to spice up a little bit, boys. We have 4 laps to go. We have a race between 3. It looks like Brad Fenley in third at the moment is struggling keeping up on those first 2. But Jamie Nankervis in the 18 is the one to watch in this race. And what is Brad Allison going to do to cover him off? Because Brad is very wise when it comes to his racing, so he's going to know all the tricks in his little playbook and everything that Jamie's sort of thinking behind him. It looks like Jamie's just sitting outside of the center of his car, just outside that rear mirror, sort of in his blind spot at the moment. So he's probably doing that to try and test it, because when Jamie needs to make his move, Brad's not able to see that. He can't see that. He needs to just go, oh, there's Jamie. So we now have 3 laps to go, and I'm interested to see how this little battle plays out for the end, but definitely don't ride off Brad Fenley in third.
Nah, Fenley, he probably wants to capitalise on a mistake if these two make it, because it looks pretty settled at the moment. But your call, Aidan, is looking like it's going to sort of be the case down the back straight in the last lap. Here we go now. He's trying to get his run a little bit higher, so he's going to have the run here. Look at Nankervis. He's gone a little bit higher. Now, this is where you want to do quali laps as they go from top to bottom, try and just maximise their speed. But I think the move's going to be on here. If you're going to do it, you don't want to muck around. There's 2 laps to go now.
And what I just saw there, Peter, is I don't believe he's going to do it in this exact spot or attempt to do it on the next lap around for the last lap. When we came down the start-finish straight there, you just mentioned, watch Jamie here. He's going to go high. I believe he's going to try and get a run and drop down low and go under Darren, or is he trying to go? He's trying to get around the outside. Sorry, Brad. So he's trying to go around the outside. So he didn't quite get the run off there. Sorry, Paul. I didn't even know who I said then. I was in a world of my own just watching the motor race. But, yeah, I thought he was going to get a run into one there, Peter. But we're at a final lap here of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. Oh, I'm having a good thing. I'm saying wrong name. I'm talking about wrong laps. That's how excited I am. But no, 124 out of 125. So this could be the lap, Peter, where I believe he comes out of the final corner and tries to get the run up in the inside. I think it's going to be hard to do down the back straight and through 3 and 4, but we're about to find out.
Oh, steady as a rock, isn't he, Allison? He deserves to be where he is. But this is almost the last lap. So this one and one more. Allison, Nankervis, Fenley. They're the guys to watch out for. We're riding on board with Allison and Nankervis, and they're going to, here's your moment, mate. Where's the move? You can call it, Aidan. Where's the move from Nankervis on Allison?
I'm going to call it. It's going to be an inside move into 4. So here we go. Let's see. Is Jamie Nankervis happy with second, or is he going to try and make the move in through 3 and 4 here at Auto Club Speedway? They've got lap traffic. He runs in hard. Just taps the back end of Brad Allison there. No harm, no foul. Jamie's not going to get the run off of turn 4. And here it is. He does have a run, but it's a little too late. And the winner of round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Cup Series here from Auto Club Speedway is none other than a rear grid to a P1 finish, the 03 of Mr. Brad Allison. P2, Jamie Nankervis, down one position after bringing him to the pole, but a good job by Jamie Nankervis nonetheless. And Brad Fenley having a great job up 24 positions on his starting position. Rounding out the top three, but wow, Peter and Paul, it's always the end of these ones which get us excited. And I was that excited I made about 3 mistakes in 3 seconds, but well worth it nonetheless.
Oh, I'm not too sure if I've seen it well there, because Allison, he held his own. It was congratulations on the podium there, Aiden. But Allison, I thought he just got a little bit of a touch there, and he just the rear of the car just sort of slid out. But let's take a look at Brad Allison. Well-deserved burnouts here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, luckily enough, he's got plenty of fuel to do some. I reckon a couple of guys behind him would have been struggling a little bit. So celebrating in style, and I'd strongly suggest this is the first win for a little while for Brad after being away from the sport for a little while for some other reasons. So congratulations to Brad. But what a great finish. Unfortunate for Brad Fenley in third there. I thought he was going to have something, but it looked like he just didn't have enough to fight, but we'll find out that in a minute. So let's just quickly, Peter, I'll let you do that. I'm just going to grab some information for these interviews. I'll let you quickly run through the race results from tonight, mate.
Yes, we just seen Brad Allison, as you can see him just behind this finishing positions here. Brad Allison wins the race, and how good was he? What I seen, he was steady as a rock. He knew what he had to do. He knew his pit strategies, and he nailed it. He won it rather by 0.092 of a second. So that's awesome. But Nankervis, he was trying the later stages of the race. He couldn't get it done, but he'd be happy with second. And Fenley up 24 positions, and he's the bottom step of the podium. Ray Zerkart, Norman Clark will round out your top 5. Then you've got Daniel Smith. He just ran out of fuel in his last pit stop right when that caution was called. So he'd still be happy. He's just outside the top 5 and 6. Darren McKenzie, probably hoping for a pit stop, I think. We may get a chat with him after to sort of clarify that. We've got Dimitri Agathis, Bullock, and Weston will round out your top 10. Oliver, Sammy Cabe at the 12. We'll have to get a chat with him as well, because I think speeding in pits, and Aiden touched on, I think there was 2 or 3 drivers that had that 55-second pit mark, which indicates to us 40-second stop and hold plus their 15-second pit stop. I think we've nailed it. Tristan Koch, Michael Shaw, Damon May, Ruben Phelps back in 16th. No idea what happened there. Beckinsale and Tinnen will round out your top 18 as we go over the page, Aiden, if you're still there.
Yeah, I've got a copy, mate. I've got everything ready. So P19 was Peter Pollard. Rounding out your 20 was Brett Campbell. 21st would be Steve Hoppett. 22nd, Andy J. Barber. Unfortunate night for Andy after missing the first 4 laps with a bit of an Oculus issue. So unfortunate there for you, Andy. Tom Pritchard, who looked racy early. 23rd, he'd come home in. 24th, David Misson, Derek Jacobs. My pick, unfortunately, a rough night there back in 25th. Jason Holdsworth, 26th. Greg Spencer, 27th. Jake Skilton in 28th. As we come to the back end of the grid, we're all over the page. 29th would it be Adam Malone. 30th will be Colby Cowan. And rounding out the 31 car grid tonight was Dylan Gray. But Peter, like I said, once again, thanks for jumping in unannounced, and that's really great. It helped a lot on the broadcast tonight, so thank you so much. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching here on the InSim Esports Network, we have 3 drivers, and they would be your top 3 podium getters for the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's race from Auto Club Speedway tonight, guys. It was the California 250 for 125 laps, and we'll do the usual. 3rd place getter, Brad Fenley, mate. You've got to be happy with that one. You weren't spoken about a lot during the race. You started out of P27 and brought your car up into P24 with a pretty quiet drive, but you definitely, I'm sure you made Jamie and Brad nervous at the end.
Yeah, mate, I was really happy with the run. I sort of purposely hung at the back there early. really disappointed with last week's Indianapolis effort to get in a bit of a wreck there. So I was determined to look after my gear a bit tonight. And yeah, I thought I managed the tyres well. That last stop, I thought I had a good think about it because it just went green for so long. So I thought if I come in with about 30 to go, I might have a good shot of running someone down that might not have had as good a tyres. And yeah, I was trying to get to the front with the boys, and yeah, they're very good. So well done, Brad. Good job, mate.
Yeah, it's very good. But did you find, like, not only the tyre strategy per se, but with the fuel, there was a short drop there in the middle or end or beginning, depending where you wanted to do it? I know that caught out Darren McKenzie. Yourself, Jamie, Ray, and Norman Clark. So the top 5 place getters, you all finished on the exact same fuel strategy.
Yeah, well, there was that first stop. I did come in for an A tyres and just top her up. So, you know, you could say that set it up a bit there if we all foresaw how much green flag there was going to be. But yeah, my short run would have been that third run where I sort of double stinted me middle set of tyres. And yeah, I wanted to change tyres with 30 to go and see how I went.
Well, you definitely did well, mate. And you've got P3 for the California 250 here on a Friday night. So you've got to be definitely happy with that one. But Peter or Paul, you want to jump on and have a quick chat with Brad before we go through the formalities and move on to our P2 place getter?
Yeah, Brad, it's Pete here, mate. Yeah, I didn't know you got the end. Yeah, took the end of the line at the start of the race, but mover of the night up 24 positions. What did you see coming into the last couple of laps, mate, or the last lap rather? I seen a tiny little bit of contact between them leaders. Were you hoping you could jag something?
They seem to be racing clean, but yeah, they're definitely following each other. And there was a couple of times going into 3, I was able to get in there pretty good, but I sort of had to get out of the gas just enough, you know, to try and get on the apron. And by the time you picked it up again, you know, it just wasn't quite enough. So obviously, if I had maybe 5 laps more tyres, it might have been a different result. But it was a lot of fun. There was a great race.
That's the main aim for these league races on here on iRacing, and it was a good watch and good call, I think, from us boys. Hopefully, don't want to toot our own horn, but third place, that was awesome, and 71 laps. You couldn't call that green, could you, in the second stint?
It was very green.
That's credits all you guys.
Yeah, no, it was a lot better than last week. There's a bit of silly stuff happening last week, and I actually looked to see if I got a penalty, but it was called a racing incident. So I've got to keep a clean skin.
Got to love those racing incidents, mate. I love them. They're good. They get me out of trouble all the time. But anyway, mate, third place tonight. Well done once again from all of us up here in the booth and everyone watching at home across all our networks that we do stream on. Quick shout out, mate. Sponsors, family, friends, anyone that you want to have a shout out on the broadcast for your third place tonight?
I've got to say good day to my dad and good day to the TKR boys. And yeah, mate, thanks for the call. I'll be watching it.
No worries, mate. Don't judge too harshly. But, mate, if you could do us a favour, just stick around to the end of the interviews. We'll have a chat with the 3 of you at the end really quickly, and we'll let you go and do your thing. If you could do that, that'd be appreciated.
Not a problem.
But Pete and Paul, that moves us to our second place getter, Jamie Nankervis. P1 start, P2 finish. How'd that race pan out for you, mate?
Yeah, that wasn't too bad, was it? Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a bit of fun. Bit of damage early on in the race, so I was down on pace. It was only on that last round of pit stops on that caution to be able to come in and fix everything up and get back out there for that last 25, 30 laps. So it was all good.
It was good to watch there too, Jamie. I'd seen we were trying to call when you were going to make the dive, mate. Was it running through your mind? No doubt it was. But where were you looking to make the move?
I reckon I could have made it around 3 and 4 anytime I wanted to. But to be honest, that's the second race I've run in this series. I'm just trying to get some laps in. Been running a couple of series of late with some really bad results, so I just want to get out there and get some laps. So I wasn't too worried about the actual the finish. So it was good.
You'll take some positives out of that, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, good qualifying. That's what I wanted. Run on the lead lap all race, so that was good, even with damage, and good strategy to come back in the end.
Yeah, it definitely does help to start off that front row, doesn't it? But with your strategy, that paid off as well, obviously, with the, as I just said to Brad previously, the strategy you guys were all on. But now knowing that you had a bit of damage, we did see you fall off the pace outside the top 10 earlier. And me not knowing the fuel drop, I was going, is he saving fuel? Because a couple other guys were dropping off as well. But we ended up getting to the bottom of that one. So with a bit of damage there, mate, and saying you're pretty comfortable to make that move if you thought you could, very, very solid drive for a P2.
Yeah, thanks. It was good. I think we were lucky there wasn't a late caution that would have wrecked it. Darren was very unlucky with that last caution where it came out with a safety car. He couldn't get into the pits, so he had to stay out. That's what the drama was with him. So that was the reason why he had to have a late stop at the end there.
Okay, that makes sense because we wondered what happened to Darren. We just thought he was short on fuel, and it was just because he pitted at the wrong lap. So good bit of hindsight there. But mate, anyone you want to shout out tonight for your P2? Like you said, you just wanted to lock some laps and get some confidence there, and you definitely did that in spades tonight. So hopefully you take this across to the other series. But anyone you want to thank for tonight?
Yeah, just thanks to you guys for putting on a great series and a good broadcast. I'd like to thank Everything Simulated and Adrenaline Events. So that's it for the night, and well done to Brad for a great drive.
No worries, mate. We'll ask the same of you if you can. Stay in the booth if you can while we just have our last chat to our winner, and we'll have a chat to you at the end about some other things coming up. So if you can do that, Jamie, that'd be great. But we'll move across, Paul and Peter, to the winner of round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Cup Series. And he took out the California 250 from Auto Club Speedway. Get this, ladies and gentlemen, puts it on P3 in qualifying. Not feeling confident for reasons that we won't discuss in detail, but we'll touch on some stuff. He decides to take the EOL and then takes the checker in the 03 custom diecast and paints car. Brad Allison, you've got to be stoked with that, mate.
Well, I got to be lucky, I think.
Mate, you got to put yourself there to be able to capture the luck. So you did well, mate.
Yeah, look, I've got to be honest. I think Jamie had me. If Jamie wanted me, we weren't on the same radio channel. We had no communication, but he just stuck behind me, and I really appreciated him doing that very much. So I know he did it, and he knows he did it. I think we all saw he was doing it.
Yeah, he was. We saw through several stints that was really important. There was a couple of bad news stories, actually, because we had Daniel Smith, who ended up coming home in 6th. If we didn't get that last caution, it was very close to him winning that because he went the opposite strategy. He did that short fill early. So he was ready to go at the end of it. But when that last caution came out, we'd literally watched him cross the line into pit lane and the yellow came out. So he lost his lap. So unfortunate for Daniel. But mate, back to you. P1, been out of the sport here for a little while on and off with some other things going on in life, as we all do. So great to see you back here, mate, and good to see you finish it. Not only finish it, but finish it on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, I'm glad to finish it there. As you know, and I think most of the folks know, it's been a long extended hospital stay, but I'm out. I don't know how long I'm going to take to recover from this race. We'll find out by tomorrow morning, and we'll go from there.
Oh, mate, yeah, definitely. But hey, at the end of the day, you might P1's P1, so it'll take a little bit of the pain away tomorrow morning. But Peter or Paul, anything you want to add to Brad?
I've been buttoning all night too, so we will give Paul a shot just in a sec. But hey, Brad, don't take anything away from yourself, mate. It's not skill. That's not what the driver says. It's not luck. Sorry.
I think you're right the first time, Pete.
No. I buggered that up, didn't I?
He's reading the Brad Allison manual of driving. It's all about luck.
No. It's not luck. It's skill, mate. You come home first, and you'll take that every time. And here's the good health.
Thanks, Peter. I was on some really old rubber out there, so I had nothing left up the sleeve.
Great job, mate. And over to Paul, mate. You do a good job behind the button. Speak up, mate.
Oh, alrighty. Brad, yeah, good to see you back again. You came back for a little bit and then you disappeared again and you're back once again. So good to see you on track. And yeah, good qualifying pace there. Obviously P3 and yeah, just I guess you're opting just to start off the back there just to get a bit of a feel for how you're feeling and going through the race there and ended up in P1. So,
yeah, thanks, Blocker. I'm struggling. As you know, I came back too early after the hospital stay and couldn't drive again for weeks in the racing, so I laid off. Yeah, it just... I just don't know how I'm going to pull up tomorrow. But yeah, it was good. I was glad to be out there.
That's all right. It's the weekend, so you can have a sleep in.
Mate, I sleep in every day.
Well, mate, sponsors and the like, any of those you want to thank for your insight?
Of course, Custom Paints and Diecast, Chevrolet. Thank them. They've stuck by me for the last few years, even with a long hospital stint, you know. Intersims Esports, you boys, for a broadcasted race. You do a great job. Appreciate it very much. All the other drivers, Jamie, hand goes out to Darren. Mackenzie, very unlucky tonight. I think he was the guy to beat, to be honest. It was just unlucky what occurred. Otherwise, I think Darren would have been up here.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said. But real quickly, while we've still got the three of us in the booth, and we will speak to Brad Fenley first. So Brad F and Brad A. We'll actually speak to you all in one hit. Whoever wants to answer this. Next week sees us go to the iRacing Super Speedway. Number one, which one of you guys are intending on running it? And number two, how do you feel about the iRacing Super Speedway in the next gen car heading into round 7? And considering iRacing Super Speedway is only a pretty recent patch drop in the last, I think it was not the one just done, the one before, or maybe even the one before that, not sure, can't remember. He's excited for that one, Super Speedway. Very different type of Super Speedway as opposed to the Daytona or Talladega as well.
I'll go first then. Yeah, look, I've done a bit of racing there. I find the trucks seem to land a bit better when you're turning into the corners. This car, you know, there's that little bit of a drop and it can unsettle. So, yeah, definitely planning on racing, and I'll have a good think about the strategy. Like, if you qualify well and you're comfortable running and how people are running up the front, I'd probably rather be there. But if it looks ugly, you know, I might just drop back and see what happens.
And Jamie?
Yeah, I've only run this car a couple of times. I've never run it around that track. The car itself, I think, is very light on the steering. It's very hard to feel your grip through the front tyres. So with those tight bends, I know there's a lot of angle on them, but with those corners, I think there's going to be a lot of cars pushing up the track and a lot of carnage in the corners.
Well, there's super high banks there too at iRacing Super Speedway, what I've seen. So definitely Aidan and Paul and all you drivers, count me in for that one, because I think it's going to be right up my alley, because we're just going to have to watch out, and everyone's going to keep their nose clean, or have to keep their nose clean, I think, especially for that one, because Super Speedway, like they say at Talladega, you're waiting for the big one, or especially us in the booth anyway, but I think it's much the same there.
Yeah, agree.
I think we're going to be glad that we've got a fast repair. That's all I'm going to say.
Most definitely. iRacings can sometimes bring out some of the best racing, but they can also bring out some of the best hard luck stories that you can call in motorsport. So definitely looking forward to calling that one. But guys, on behalf of myself, Peter and Paul, everyone on the Intersim Esports Network, and everyone involved in the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen series, mate, we do say well done on your podium position. Hopefully we talk to you more as the season goes on into the back end.
Please.
Thanks, guys.
I hope so too.
No worries. Well, Paul and Peter, mate, that brings us to the end of this round of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen series. Brad Allison was your winner. Jamie Nankervis P3, Jamie Nankervis P2, Brad Fenley P3. We just heard those three rather. Guys, what was your favourite moment of the night? Obviously, Paul, our picks before the race didn't get up at all. Norman Clark had a nice solid finish, a P5 there. But moment of the race or something that stuck out for you more so than anything else?
Strategy, I think, was the biggest thing tonight. Everyone choosing a little bit different strategy. As we saw, we said Daniel Smith was looking very promising for a podium finish there, if not the race win. And unfortunately, that final caution coming out, and same with Darren McKenzie not pitting under that final caution, hoping he could get home with a little bit of a fuel save, but wasn't able to do so.
And Peter?
Yeah, I think the different strategies for mine, the clean driving's always pretty good. Well, very good. 71 laps green. That's not pretty good. That's exceptional, especially around here. But yeah, the different strategies. Smith, I thought he was going to be a little bit further up than what he was. He was actually happy when that caution come out, and we knew because we were watching. So we knew a little bit different there, but he was out of fuel anyway. He had to make that stop. So unfortunate for some, but those top three deserved their positions. But yeah, the whole race as a whole, what I seen, better late than never. I did miss probably 40 odd laps, but what I seen, I sort of regret missing the start now. But yeah, it's definitely worth my time and watching you guys out. It was a really good race. But strategies, I think the different strategies was my pick of the night as well.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with the both of yous on that one. Strategy was a bit of a yo-yo game with us trying to catch up with it. We didn't have a chance to go on board or do laps beforehand. We were doing iRacing updates and stuff from the patch download. So, yeah, definitely have to go with the strategy. That did keep us on our toes, and the caution sort of came at the right time. So it was very good in that regard. But ladies and gentlemen, everyone tuning into the InSim Esports Network, that brings us to the end of round 6 of the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. And your winner of that was, again, Brad Allison, taking home the California 250. So really quickly before we wrap up, let's see how that shakes up our championship points after this race. Daniel Beckinsale has had a lot chopped out of the lead of his championship at the moment. He's on 183 points, leading the way, just 2 points ahead of Norman Clark there in second on 181. Dave Oliver's moved up a position into third on 173. Likewise, Dimitri Agathos up 3 positions on 164 into fourth. Jason Holdsworth, with not a very good showing tonight's gone down 3 positions into P5, 163 points. Tristan Koch, Andy Barber, Daniel Smith, Michael Shaw, and Darren McKenzie rounds out your top 10. Daniel Smith with a good little bag of points there tonight. So that's one that what could have been for Daniel from both a race and championship perspective. So you can keep scrolling down and have a look at your favourite drivers, see where they place, where they've been. Brad Allison, your winner tonight, is now up in the 23rd spot with 69 points. Jamie Nankervis is in 22nd on 69 points as well. So some very interesting shake-ups in those championship standings. So you can see how quick they do get changed if you have one bad result or lead laps. So, guys, that is the championship standings at the moment. Peter and Paul, what do you think of that one? Unfortunate for Daniel Beckinsale. He had 11-point lead running into this round, and it looks like he's walking away, heading to iRacing Super Speedway next Friday with a 2-point gap on the lead of this championship.
Probably, sorry.
You go, Paul.
Probably not the track you want to be going into with only a 2-point lead. The iRacing Super Speedway, it doesn't really matter where you're running, front or back. I've had many a times when I've been at the front that I've been taken out by someone pushing behind. So it's going to be a hard one, I think, for Daniel. So he's really going to have to keep his nose clean and stay out of trouble if he wants to maintain that championship.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty much one race at a time, and he'll take that out. He'll know, what went wrong, or he'll hope to sort of improve on that. But coming into Speedway rather, that you mentioned, Paul, that's with the 2-point gap. It's going to make it tough, but all these guys will bring their A game. But I think we will see a big one or two there next Friday night. But just another mention, the Mackenzie family. Hopefully you're watching. Shout out from me. I've got a brew open now, so glasses up. Thoughts are with you, and don't forget that event. I'm sure Aidan will run through, and dig deep for the RedKite Foundation.
Yeah, well said there, mate, and definitely while we're on that subject, and before I start wrapping up the broadcast with you guys, we will just run over it one more time. There is a special event that we are broadcasting that has been organised by some lovely gentlemen within the iRacing community, which is called the RedKite Race for Jake, in memory of Jake Mackenzie. It will be held on Sunday the 19th of September at 10 a.m. So we're looking forward to that one. Get amongst that, get onto the fundraising link. You can see that in our comments all the way through our socials, or you can grab it off there. Feel free to donate. Unfortunately, Darren McKenzie, who you've seen in this race tonight, him and his family unfortunately lost their lovely son, Jake, not that long ago. So we're all putting together a fundraising good race to be able to support the family, and more so support the RedKite Foundation, who did a lot for not only Darren's family and himself, but also thousands of other families across Australia. I'm sure they do every day. So every little bit counts that people can add in to that would be good, and well appreciated by the charity, and show a lot of support. We've also got a lot of nice things that we are doing on that broadcast that night, which you'll have to tune in and watch. So there'll be some nice things and a real special event. So we look forward to bringing you that one. But like I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series, you'll see us again next Friday, where we head to the iRacing Super Speedway for 125 laps, same time, same place. But before we get there, we head to Homestead, Miami for 134 laps this Sunday night for the next installment, which is round 9 of the Australasian Supercar E-Series. So again, same time, same place. That's Sunday night for the Australasian Supercar E-Series. And then we will be back here, like I just mentioned, to the iRacing Super Speedway for 125 laps for the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series. Then we'll be bringing you that special event on the 19th of September, I believe. So a winner again here for the California 250, 125 laps, Auto Club Speedway, was Brad Allison. Second, Jamie Nankervis. Third place, Brad Zenley. So that's where we're moving in the next couple of weeks. We thank everyone for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you here on Sunday night for the Australasian Supercar E-Series from Homestead, Miami. This was the Full Throttle Friday Night Next Gen Series from the Auto Club Speedway, brought to you by the Cube Retro Radio and broadcasted live here on the IndySim Esports Network. From myself, Paul, and Peter, we wish everyone a good night, a good weekend. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Thank you.